Welcome, everybody, to the Business Growth Blueprint. Excited to be here with my good friend, Sverrir Ragnarsson. Because I cannot pronounce it, we just call him Shred. So welcome.
Thank you so much. And the proper pronunciation is Sverrir Ragnarsson.
It's beautiful. I cannot roll an R like that, so we just won't even try. So thank you for the permission to call you Shred. Everybody out there, he is Shredder. He is an incredible coach, incredible sales trainer, leadership trainer, just phenomenal. Been in business for himself for many, many years. We're here to have a conversation about what it's like to be a business owner, what challenges he has faced, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. And I did my hair and everything before I came. I can see
I love it.
The same.
Yes, hair products, it's great.
It's
$6
awesome.
bottle of shampoo lasts 5 years, and we're good.
Yeah.
So let's kind of start at the beginning, your origin story. Tell me a little bit about, why you started your business in the first place.
So in the beginning, of course, I went to school and did all those things. And I'm educated here from the University of Denver. And then I went back home to Iceland and was working with some of the biggest companies back home in the shipping industry, in the car industry, in the retail industry. And I was at the management level there. But the interesting thing is that I'm born and raised into a family-owned business, and the family has owned clothing business, men's clothing business since 1956. Yeah, I didn't know anything else than my parents and my family and my grandparents, everyone just being in business. So I was just at this moment, I really wanted to go into business since I was just a kid by myself, but got great experience from a lot of good companies back home. And then just one day, I just took the jump and I said, I don't want to be in the family business. And because I did not want to be successful because my parents were successful, I wanted to do it on my own. So I just jumped.
So what made you choose the business you went into?
So I've always been a kind of an open people person. And I was doing actually a lot of, I was in HR the last part of my training. And I've always been doing a lot of customer service training back home. Even though I was with companies, I was just training the staff in the businesses on customer service. Everything in our family-owned business is about customer service and sales. And so I was actually in a sales job one day. It was in 1999, 2000. I was in a sales job, and I remember exactly where I was located when this actually happened. Is that I was doing training. I was working for a company back home that was doing training. Actually, I was not doing training. That was doing sales, and I was in a sales job there. And I was in my hometown, Akureyri, in the north of Iceland. And the owner of the company came with me to Akureyri. We both were living in Reykjavik. And the owner of the company came with me to Akureyri and was watching me doing a sales presentation. And after the sales presentation, she comes up to me and said, Sverrir, don't do this again. And I was just, what are you talking about? Are you firing me? And then she started laughing. She was awesome. And her name is Svava Grönfeld. And she's really up in the ranking at MIT here in the US. And she just started laughing at the moment. And then she said, no, I'm not firing you. I'm just moving you into the training and consulting department. And it was a Friday afternoon. And she said, by the way, you have to do a sales training on Monday. I was just, what? And then this is how it's
plenty of time to prepare.
Again.
So that was the start of it. All right.
That was the beginning, yes.
Yeah. So early 2000s. So 20 plus years now.
Actually, then I was actually working with that company, and then I moved to another company, actually managing one of the biggest car importer of Iceland. And because of that, I started doing a lot of on-site trainings and stuff like that. And then I was just kind of, you know what? I really want to do this just full time. I don't want to be sitting in an office managing the business and the people. I just want to do my own business, and I want to be unemployable.
But 20 years on your own, you are unemployable at this point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it is funny. We talk about business owners kind of fall into a few different categories. One is the person who just doesn't want a boss. So they go and they start their own business.
Yep.
And they find themselves quite often, they have a job. They just don't have a boss, and they're struggling. They're working to try to grow their business or figure out how to, make ends meet and pull things together. And then the second category is that true business owner. They get some employees, they are managing the business, they're probably doing some things right, they may be making some mistakes, learning. And then you've got the entrepreneur, and definitely that is a different mindset. The person that starts the business to scale it, potentially sell it, start additional businesses. You've got all those different categories. So you wanted to do your own thing,
Yep.
but you also wanted to grow and have that solopreneur kind of mindset.
Totally.
Tell me more about that.
Totally. So when I started, I was just doing training, and I was struggling big time. I mean, I was going from a well-paying job into having nothing, and this was actually right before. Well, I had one daughter, and I actually went into quit the business in right at 2 months after I had my second daughter, and that was just the income was none, and in the beginning, but it did grow okay in the beginning, but it was a struggle for many years, and I was only doing training, and then I really got into the coaching part and consulting part, and that has grown my business immensely. So yeah, I'm very pleased, but I'm just at the starting point, even though I've been doing it for a long time.
I love that mindset, is the beginner's mind. And
Yeah.
you looked at your product offering wasn't delivering what you wanted. What additional products, services can I go and offer? You can't just turn that switch on though overnight. What did you have to do from developing your mindset? How did you go about that process, and what did that look like for you?
So the process was, I mean, I was thrown into this business, so I had to actually learn a lot. And when I was getting into it, of course, there was internet, but we did not have the access that we have today. So it was a lot of reading. It was a lot of learning from others. It was a lot of kind of studying what was happening. Every time I walk into a business, I look at the customer service. And for example, just yesterday, I went into a bank with my daughter, and I was just, this is terrible customer service. And my daughters are there, Dad, don't say anything like that in front of the people. Of course, we're speaking Icelandic, but we see the point. But then I actually started getting certified in a lot of different areas, and I did actually read one book called Influencer, and this is a sister book of Crucial Conversation, and I really liked that book. So I actually did just contact the authors and the owners of it and said, hey, I love your material. What do I need to do to become a trainer for you? I'm one of the best trainers in the world. What do I need to do? And they were just, oh, you are actually located in Iceland. So we are actually dealing with a company called Door Training in Europe. They have access to our content. So talk to the owner of that company. And of course I did. I called him on a Friday afternoon and said, hey, I'm one of the best trainers you've ever seen, probably. I would love to get connected with you and actually do some work with you and learn the Crucial Conversation and Influencer and all those things. And he was just, yeah, right. You think you're a good trainer? Yeah, I'm a great one. Okay, come and prove it. Sitting in Iceland, he was sitting in Frankfurt, and I said, when do you want me to come? Monday. And I was just, okay, I'll show up on Monday. So I flew to Frankfurt on a Sunday night, stayed in it was actually in Wiesbaden, very close to Frankfurt. Flew into Frankfurt, stayed in Frankfurt, showed up in Wiesbaden at 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday, had a conversation with them, did a little bit of a kind of a teach back or a training or just kind of introducing myself. And we signed a contract that afternoon, and I flew back home. And the rest is history. So that's when I started working a lot and growing a lot with Microsoft and some of the worldwide and big companies in the world. So
that's fantastic.
Stories.
So you passed the audition that you had to fly halfway across the world for. A couple
it
things.
was only 2.5 hours.
You were already in Iceland. Okay, yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
A couple things I heard in there though that I think are really good lessons for anyone, but business owners. You said, hey, I'm one of the best trainers you know. There's that confidence, that belief in your abilities that is so key. And I think that stands out. And then the second thing was they referred you. Your first call to the folks at the Influencer didn't get you where you wanted to go. They referred you to this Door Training company. Hey, I'm going to contact the owner. You just reached out. Yeah. It's so there's that confidence in your abilities, but also that, hey, rejection might happen. I'm game. Let's go. Yeah. Seems like you're pretty bold pretty bold guy from what I know. And
Yeah,
you not bald, bold.
I know. I'm just joking. No, yeah. I mean, and the word that actually comes to mind when you're talking about this is it's yes. I have a lot of self confidence, and I've had a lot of nicknames, and I'm still nicknamed some crazy stuff within my family because nothing was impossible for me when I was growing up. I could do anything, and the big word that you actually came out. Well, you didn't say it, but that came to my mind when you were talking about this courage. Just take the chance. I mean, yes. Are you gonna screw up? Gonna still move on? Yeah. Are you going to be unhappy when you screw up? Of course you are, but then just move on and try again. Not stop us in anything we do.
Well, and that's such good wisdom. But at the same time, you're human. You feel those emotions, that those knots in your stomach, those nerves.
Oh,
Tell
yeah.
me how you go about working through the nerves, the fear, the man, am I going to get rejected? What if is this risk worth taking? I mean, your life's a great story of taking calculated risks, but risks that may not pay off. How do you approach those?
And it has happened many, many times. And how do well, you know me a little bit, Pete. We've known each other for some time now because we were in one of the certifications together. And I'm a very positive person. I'm a very kind of I don't see a lot of obstacles, but when I face obstacles,
Yeah.
of course I feel it and I get down and all that, but I always focus on stepping up again. I always focus on, okay, I have gotten through the hard stuff before. And I've gotten, I mean, not like crazy hard stuff, but for example, I went through a divorce. That's a big thing for me. And it was a terrible thing to go through, but I was just kind of, you know what? I'm not the first person on the planet that is going through this. I'm having an awesome life. So I cannot complain. There are billions of people that have it worse than I have. So it's just, what do I need to do to move forward? So I ask that question quite often. So what can I do to move forward? What can I do to get out of this? Yeah, can I say a hole? What
Yeah.
this turbulence or whatever it is? What do I need to do to get out of it? Sometimes when I'm getting out of it, I screw up again. You know what? But it's just move on. Just and of course it's hard and all that. But you know what? If you just start looking at the positives in life, I think we have a million times more positives in life than we have negativity. So
Yeah. Negativity sells, negativity grabs attention really quickly. Hey, what's the problem? And there's a great lesson in marketing is really on focusing on the problem that the person has to solve and getting into that conversation in their head. I think that's the starting point, but creating that positive future state, and you do that so well. I want to go back, speaking of kind of riffing on risk a little bit, I want to go way back
okay.
to your coming to America in the first place and landing, how you ended up coming to America and then landing in Denver and going to DU. I love that story, and I think that's something our audience would love to hear.
Yeah. So like we talked about having difficulties in life and stuff like that. I actually had a lot of difficulty when I was a kid. I of course I grew up in a great family. Didn't We had everything we needed, and I was supported by my parents and family 100%. And I was doing great in sports, doing great in school. But there was one thing that I never did good in, and that was I didn't speak English. I could not, for the life of me, learn English. And I have a lot of people that can testify that. But I managed to get through school and graduate, and I always wanted to go to the US. So one day, uh, decided to go to the US and study English. And I came here it was in the beginning of year 2000, no, 1992. That is actually going to age me a little bit here, but yeah, I look 30, right?
Yeah. Youthful glow.
Exactly. And it was in 92. I came to Boulder. Boulder was the first place I stayed in the U.S. And I came here to study English, but also I was a good soccer player, and I really wanted to study here in the U.S. And I already got offered a scholarship from a school in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I did turn that down. So I was actually open to, hey, what can I do? And then I was here in Denver, or actually in Boulder, looking for schools. And DU is probably one of the best international business schools in this nation and then on the planet. And I want to get to that school. But there are two big hurdles there. I didn't speak the language, did not have the money to go to the school. And it's kind of ridiculous for Icelanders to go to school here unless they get scholarships, because we get school for free in Iceland. And those are pretty good schools. So
Yeah.
so I had to figure out, okay, I have to learn English. That's a big one. Then I have to figure out how can I actually get into the school. And I found out that DU actually have a good soccer program. So I made a decision. That's another courage, bold decision that the chance was very big that I would get the word no. But I took the chance, walked into the office of the soccer coach, spoke terrible English, and introduced myself. My name is Sverrir Ragnarsson, and he just looked at me and just, what did you just say? Well, I didn't have a nickname at that time, and it was very early. So, I told him, I'm a good soccer player. I'm a really good soccer player. And do you want to give me a scholarship? And he just looked at me and said, no. And I was just kind of, I don't understand this. I mean, I'm really good in soccer. And you just say no straight out without even knowing and seeing. And he was just, yep, that's what I said. So, yeah, no, I don't want to give you a scholarship. And I was just, I don't understand why. Why don't you want to do that? I didn't give up. So, and he said, you know what, Shred? Actually, he didn't say Shred. He didn't say my name. You know what? Here in the US, the kids don't recruit the schools. We recruit the kids. And I was just, yeah, but I'm from Iceland. There's not much chance that you could have seen me play. So you don't even want to see me play? And he was just, you know what? You're not going to give up, are you? Nope.
Persistence.
And say it again.
Persistence.
Persistence. And that's what he said. He said, you know what? Since you're this persistent in this, I would love to see you play soccer. And he said, can you show up tomorrow morning at 9? I was just, yeah, I can do that. So I didn't even drive to Boulder back. I stayed in Denver. So I showed up on time, actually a lot ahead of time. So I was warmed up and everything and I played, and he liked what he saw. And he said, you know what? I like what you saw. I'd like to give you a scholarship, but I can't right now. And I was just, why? Because you don't speak English. So go and learn English and come back. That's what I did. And I started school in the fall of 92.
Wow. Persistence, tenacity, you don't have the skills right now. When a lot of business owners, they start their business, they may not have certain skill sets, whether that's marketing, whether that's finance, managing, expenses, a P&L. Obviously, you can learn so much so fast now with the technology we have, whether it be just online, Google, YouTube. Now with AI, you've got tools like Perplexity, ChatGPT. So many tools. There's really no excuses for not being able to learn a skill and at least start making progress towards what you want. Great story.
Yeah. But one thing that I really want to add to this one, and it's just for the people that have some kind of disabilities. I am actually dyslexic, so I didn't speak the language, dyslexic. It was so hard in the beginning. But you know what? With hard work, things happen. And I speak okay English today, right?
Incredible English. Hey, English is my native language. It's the only one I speak fluently, and sometimes I mess it up pretty bad.
Oh yeah, and you know what? That's just okay.
So as we talk about this, you think about the business. You've expanded your products to what you're at right now. You've overcome quite a few different challenges. What are some of the biggest challenges you're working on right now? What are some struggles that you're seeing right now in your business?
Actually, a big struggle is that I am writing a book, and I have the biggest procrastination on that because I'm busy in my business, and I am just terrible about prioritizing that. And just because we're talking about this today, and it'll be published, a lot of people are going to see, hey, you loser, you're just procrastinating here. It's going to push me to actually finish the book. And I'm writing this book about my experience that I was just talking about. And the book is going to be called The One Question, which is just focused on how one question can actually change your life. And it's not that just one question. I mean, I've given you 2 examples where questions changed my life. Of course, getting into DU and then getting into door training and being able to train at Microsoft and some other big companies. I mean, it was just a question. Yes, I was cocky. I was really cocky and self-confident. Hey, I am a really good one. Can I work for you? I mean, that's another question that actually changed my life. So this is going to be all focused on how do we actually move forward with asking questions and just without being afraid. Are people going to say no to you? 100%. Does life go on? 100%.
Yeah, it's the idea of in the beginning versus over time.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when you first start writing, whether it's a book or anything that you're trying to do, marketing, it's hard. You suck at it. In the beginning, the first time you stand in front of an audience and have to talk to them, you suck at it. The first time you go to a sales pitch, you suck at it. The first time you manage people, you suck at it. Yeah. And then over time, you get better. It just takes practice. It takes repetition. And it's like working out and building those muscles. You've got to get repetitions. You expand your comfort zone, you expand your capabilities and your capacity. Yep. And as you do that, you get bigger, you grow, you're able to take on more and handle more. Yep. But I think a lot of times, fear holds us back or hesitation. Procrastination isn't just procrastination. You got to get at what's behind the procrastination. Yeah.
And I can tell you what it is in my, you just said the word, it's fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of because I'm dyslexic, it's fear of not doing it right. And of course, I'm going to have people that are looking at it, but it's just the fear of not being good at it and doing it right. And I know this. I sucked at everything when I started, but I mean, I can tell you one thing. Once this book is over, I'm going to write another one. It's guaranteed because I have the experience.
It's a mindset. You've definitely got the mindset. Yep. So you're working on your book, and I'm not going to put you on the spot and have you tell us when we can count on that being out. So
Before Christmas.
Oh, well, there you go. Thanks for jumping in on that.
Please put me on the spot.
Yeah. Well, this will be hitting out there by the end of September, so that gives you the fourth quarter, right? Yeah. Which I think is a great transition for us. Here we are. We're approaching the fourth quarter of the year, and this is for a lot of people, this is some of their busiest months. But then you get between Thanksgiving and the end of the year, and so many people start to shut it down. They start to coast. They get busy with holidays and family and friends. What would you say to those business owners that maybe are thinking about that and going, oh, it gets really quiet? Obviously, if you're in a retail business, restaurant business, a lot of times the holidays are some of your best times. Oh, yeah. But for a lot of, professional services or other businesses, they kind of shut it down during that time. What would be some advice you'd share with those folks?
I'm actually in the perfect business that you're talking about. It actually mid-December shuts down until kind of beginning of January, mid-January. And this is actually the time that you should be really focusing on educating yourself and also using that to take a break to actually come stronger into, because this business can be crazy. I mean, I'm starting at 5 o'clock in the morning, coaching people in Iceland and Europe and all that. Then I keep going and do the US market here in the late morning and then into the afternoon. And we need to take a break. We need to slow down. We need to actually read. Use the time to read. Use the time to educate yourself. Use the time to actually check out and completely come 100% back into the business when you start again. That's my advice. But what I do, and as you know, is that I go sometimes to Iceland at that time to sell clothes because that's my way of checking out.
It's cathartic. You go back home and get into selling mode.
Yeah, getting the selling mode and work with my family, my dad and my brothers, and so it just gives me a lot of energy. Yeah, even though it's a lot of work in December, it's just so much fun. You get to talk to the clients, you get to meet all the people that you knew when you were a kid, and they come to the store and talk to me and they say, hey, are you in town? We have to meet. Yeah, well, come to the store. I'm working. So all my friends in the stores.
It's your hangout time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think there's a couple really great lessons in there in what you just said. I mean, number one is you've got to focus on yourself. You've got to grow. If you don't grow the business owner, it's hard to grow the business. You're not going to get a business that just is way more successful and outgrows you. Yeah. You're the limiter as the business owner on your business. So that's a great lesson, is focusing on your own development. But checking out doesn't mean you shutter the doors either. I think it's a great time to practice what you're learning. If you're studying marketing, what are some offers you can do when everybody else is shutting it down? to prime the pump. Are there special offers? Are there stacked products and services or extra services? Are there new services you can launch during that time to keep your business thriving?
Yeah.
I got a good friend we're going to have on here and talking about landscaping. When the lawn starts to die, the snow starts to fall here in Colorado, and people need their snow removed. So it's how do you build year-round success into your business, even when you are maybe not delivering something as in a service business like yours?
Yeah, because in my business, it's a lot about educating yourself, bring in something new when you come back, and have a different take on it, and really learn other ways of doing it. I mean, as you said, I'm almost 20 years into my business, and I am still buying a lot of training myself every single year.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of money on training for me.
Yeah.
Educating.
But you put it to work. You put it to work.
Yeah. So.
You're not learning for learning's sake. Learn something and go apply it. What can you do?
Yeah.
That's really the closing the gap, right? There's something called the forgetting curve. You could go watch a video on YouTube. You could go take a class. You could do a lot of things, but if you don't put it into practice, you're going to forget.
And it's
close
also,
that gap.
It's also interesting because a lot of people think reading a lot of books is going to help them. Yeah, of course, reading. Please read as much as you can, but read something and apply it. I don't read 20, 30 books a year. I read maybe 2 or 3 of them, or maybe 5, and I try to apply those things into both my business and my life.
So, favorite book this year? What's been the most impactful that you've actually applied in your life?
Actually, there are 2 books. So one of them is called Tiny Habits. There's a program, so I'm also being certified in that, and it's just really interesting how we develop habits. And then one of my favorite right now is The Gap in the Game, and it's just, are we living in the gap or are we living in the game? I just love that. And living in the game is when you're actually celebrating your little successes, and living in the gap is when you're actually you actually reach some point, but you're unhappy because you didn't reach all the things that you wanted. So,
yeah, business owner, you're at $250,000, $300,000 in revenue right now, and you want to be a 7-figure business. You want to get to that $1 million threshold, right? That's that magical next number. And if that's all you focus on, and you're always focused on the gap, you forget that you were at 300,000 and now you're at $680,000. You've more than doubled your business, but you're not living in that gain. You're living in the gap, and you're like, oh, I fell short.
Yep.
Oh, look at where you've come, and it's so important. That's a great mindset.
Yeah.
So how are you living in the gain right now?
Living in the gain, I'm celebrating all the successes that I do. I actually, one thing that I do at night is that I write down what are my 3 successes today. Of course, sometimes I have a lot of them. But what are my 3 successes? And I can tell you one of my success tonight is going to be, hey, I got on a podcast with my friend Pete and we did it. That was a success. So
yeah,
even though it's your
success.
Podcast, it's a success for both of us.
Hey, well, people are hearing about how talented you are, that if they need a soccer expedition or at least learning how to speak Icelandic, they've got a friend. And but no, just tremendous talent, able to help them in so many ways. So, my goal is adding value to the guests on this as well.
Yeah.
Something, that to keep in mind. I teach a couple different things, but at the end of the day, it's called complete your EOD report, and it's evaluate your life, right? There's a wheel of life. There's 6 categories. There's a variety of ways you can do this, but how are you doing in each of these 6 areas? And that allows you to review, hey, you know what? My business is going well. I've had a great, week in the business. Each day has been a win. But you know what? I haven't spent any time with my kids, or my spouse, there's been a little bit of neglect there. I've got to do a better job. It gives you a chance to evaluate those areas and course correct within 24 to 48 hours. Whereas some people may only look at that, oh, it's New Year's. I guess I should look at my life and see how I'm doing. It's a great opportunity to take the end of the night and go, hey, what are your wins for the day? And are there some places where you want to put some focus tomorrow?
Yeah. And a lot of people, which is awesome, and I do that too, write down gratitude, what are you grateful for? But this is really focused on what are your wins. That's the most important point here. What are the wins today? To see what you did well today. You can be grateful for a lot of things. It doesn't mean that you did well. So it's just really focus on all the good things that you did during the day.
Yep. Yeah, I suspect a lot of our listeners out there, if you've got a business, you've probably had some wins.
Oh, totally. I mean,
Let's keep
we
your
all
eyes on that.
start with zero. I mean, a win. We woke up today.
Maybe that's a good mindset too. Is hey, start your day at zero each day, reset. If you had a big
And
win
it just
yesterday,
automatically because you just woke up.
it's true.
You haven't
good
done
point.
anything.
Yesterday's wins are yesterday's wins. You can't carry them into today.
Exactly.
So your biggest goal you have maybe for the next 1 to 2 years. I know you talked about your book, but that's by the end of this year. So what's the next mountain to climb over the next 24, 48
So the
months?
next, actually a little bit further than the next two. Well, I'm going to say it in 2, 3 years, I want to 10 times my business.
10x. I love it.
10x my business. That's
Okay.
it's because again, another book that is just awesome, and I'm actually going through that program myself. Is that 10 times is easier than 2 times? It's a brilliant thing.
Now, a lot of people are listening to that and they're going, "Yeah, I don't agree with that. I'm not on board." Tell me more about that. How is 10x better than 2x?
It's because a lot of times when you're 2xing your business, you are actually really focused on doing all the things by yourself. You're just putting more effort and more work into it, which is great. But when you 10 times your business, that's when you start thinking about how can I automate some things? How can I get some other people to do some of the work? And you focus on all the things that you are great at. I'm for example, I'm really good at connecting with the people, talking to the people, coaching the people. But there's also great people there too. So we have to really think into the 80-20% rule and figuring out who can actually do this job so I can keep going and doing the big things. So even a lot of times you're working less when you're kind of making your business 10 times bigger than 2 times. Because if it's 2 times, you are very much focused on doing it yourself. So it's really figuring out how can I bring revenue or the number of people. It doesn't mean when I say 10 times, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm 10 times the revenue. Of course, I want that, but it could be I want to reach 10 times more people than I'm reaching today. I want to train more people than I'm reaching today because, well, my mission here is to make this world better one person at a time. And hey, I'm still doing it. Been doing it for 20 years. I'm going to succeed.
All right. So we got you accountable for getting a book out this year and 10x your business.
The world too. Hey, I'm in. I'm game.
hey, you changed your world for sure.
Exactly.
So 10x. It's a great point though. As a business owner looking at profitability, we have a saying: revenue feeds your ego, profit feeds your family. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, as a business owner, you got to be profitable. So 10xing your business is great, but you want to 10x your business and maintain or increase your net profit margins, right? Yeah. Otherwise, if you 10x your business and run 1% razor thin margins, it's not sustainable. And you're going to be exhausted, burnt out, frustrated. So as a business owner, looking at your net profit, what's it at today? And, we have a way we talk about doubling your net profit. If you're at a 10% net profit, we have the 5 by 5.5 rule that I share with prospective clients that helps them literally within 30 days double their profits. And if you're, at a higher profit margin net, you might not double it, but you'll get very close and you're going to have significant increases. And it doesn't take any more effort. Here's the thing that I think that help business owners understand is there are certain levers you can pull that take no more effort that just put a ton of cash in your pocket. Exactly. And with all the economic pressures that are out there in businesses today, how do you run higher margins? If you're in the service business, if you're in home services, if you're in restaurant, you've got so many variable costs. Yeah. It's hard to run higher margins. If you're just selling knowledge products, you should be running, 90% gross margins, probably 70% net. But it's a lot harder when you're in different business models. So thinking about that strategically, it's one of the things I like to do with my clients is find a way to double their profits. Yeah. I like to say, we're going to help you turn nickels into quarters. So that is, that's 5x. It's not quite 10x, but it's the starting point, right? And it's getting you there.
Am I going to reach it? If I don't reach it in 3 years and I've just 5 times my business, I'm going to be happy with that.
Oh, darn.
Exactly.
So darn.
Yeah. Well, I'm a strong believer, aim very, very high and just try to get there. And if you get half the way and it was really high, you're so much further than you are than when you started it.
Yeah, that's the gain.
Yeah.
So it's great lessons, though, I think, is you know, you're aiming high and you're working hard, and you will see that gain, and then you reflect on that. You celebrate those gains. I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. And you know, growth is a beautiful thing. I mean, if you're looking, whether you're looking to scale your business significantly and 10x it, or you're just looking to grow it and get it to a place, you know, some business owners are looking to just build it to a place where it is just them, or it is just them and their couple employees, or a family-owned business, and just have it there. Great. Let's see how we can build the operational systems so we can automate as much as we can. We can make things as simple as we can so that you have time to enjoy the fruit of your labor and you're not killing yourself in the business.
And also, what I'm thinking when you're saying this is that a lot of people think, hey, Shred, you're doing fine. I mean, you financially, you're good and you're doing fine. You're happy. You have time for your kids and all that, all those things. And I get this question all the time because my job is to push people and get them to be better than they are today. I always get this question, Sverrir, can we never just stop and be happy where we are? Yeah, you can do that if you want to, but the world is moving so fast. If you want to keep being where you are, then you have to actually keep running and moving fast with the world. So just never ever stop doing things, because the world is going to sprint away from you if you just stop and get complacent and comfortable.
Oh yeah, we're growth oriented as beings. We are oriented towards expansion and growth, and there's, you know, stagnation, right? If you stop moving, you lose momentum, you stagnate. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
And or perishing is probably the appropriate word. But it's super important. You know, yes, you should rest. We're not built for running full steam all the time. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. It's just kind of growing yourself throughout and part of growing, like I said, December for me is a slow month. So
yeah, it's a learning month.
You know, learn.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, so we've shared a lot of things. People are getting to know you, understanding you a little bit. We've talked about some advice for business owners, ways that we can grow them. We've talked about your big goals and the importance of having those big goals. What's something business owners should know that maybe they don't know? What wisdom would you share?
That's a good one. What they should know. Well, I mean, what they should know that they don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think most people actually know this, but they stay away from it. So it's just after the no, get the no, because I believe that when you get the no in business, you can actually have a conversation with the people then and say, okay, I got the no. Why? Why did I get the no? And then people start telling you and giving you information that you are really kind of, you didn't have before. So you got the no in this situation because you were not this, this, and this. I learned something when I got the no there. So actually, don't be afraid of the no. Actually, go after the no more often than you do. Because a lot of people, I mean, since we're talking about questions, a lot of people don't ask questions because they think it's a stupid question, or they're going to be rejected, or they're going to be this or that. You never find out unless you ask.
You have not if you ask not.
And I have a theory that I learned from a good mentor of mine that actually said, if you get the word no, is that a rejection? And I'm going to say no, it's not a rejection, because before you asked, you didn't have what you asked for. And after you asked, you got the no. You still don't have it. There's nothing that changed. So what's the rejection here? The only thing you could have gotten there was the gain. You asked, either you got it or you don't. If you didn't get it, you're in the same spot as you were before you asked.
I love that advice. And they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the idea. They're rejecting the service. They're rejecting themselves. It's not necessarily a rejection, which I think's an important lesson for business owners in selling too. As no matter what we do, whether you're an employee working for a big company or you're on your own, you have to be good at selling if you're going to be successful. And you're always selling something, whether it's your product or it's yourself, your reputation. So I think chasing that no is a great sales tool for sure.
And every person on this planet is a salesperson. Ever since we were born, we're trying to sell something. Proven the value in the product before or two.
Yeah. But that rejection, I remember my first sales job. It was commission only sales. Like if you don't sell, you don't eat. the pit in my stomach going out and those first cold calls, those first conversations, the fear of rejection. And a lot of it, some of it was lack of belief in myself. Some of it was lack of belief or really understanding the product. Some of it was lack of just understanding that no isn't a rejection of me. The no is a rejection of the offer, and getting better at that. But it was a muscle I had to build. Tell me about how you, when you're coaching and teaching people sales, how do you help them build those skills?
So I really get them to understand that they actually have the responsibility for their success. I try to get people to understand that we take 100% responsibility for our outcomes. Of course, like in sales, salespeople are masters in making excuses. But I can tell you the best ones, they are the ones that actually make the least excuses, because they take it on them and really, I could have done it differently. I could have done it better. I could have asked this question. And it's not that they're tearing themselves down. They're just learning from every moment there. So it's a lot about taking responsibility. It's a lot about one thing that I love is courage. And another thing that I love is persistence. So it's take responsibility, show courage, go out of your comfort zone, try something new. Make sure if you don't get the sale, the market might be, or inflation might be this, or like in COVID, when I was training salespeople, the supply chain is yada, yada, yada. Of course it is. It's for everyone else on the planet. And so move on. Someone is succeeding. Doesn't matter if the supply chain, interest rates, or whatever. There's always someone that is succeeding. And that's the one that takes 100% responsibility for their outcomes. Shows courage and persistence.
I love that. I saw somewhere on social media, it was a post that said, somebody with half of your talent is making twice as much as you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overcoming that fear of rejection. I love that. We're all selling all the time. Some of us are just better than others at it. And it's matching product fit to the market. Who are you trying to serve? What problem are you solving for them? Because then you're not having to be a pushy salesperson. You're just literally finding out about the customer, what's their problem, showing them how you can solve it and why they should trust you. And that know, like, and trust is a really important factor. So
and creating value for them. That's very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I love that. Shred, this has been an awesome conversation. I think everybody's gotten a ton of gold out of that. So I just super grateful for the time. I know you've got a lot going on and you've got a book to go get finished. So just very, very grateful for the time here. If you could ask anything of the folks that'll be watching and listening to this, what would that be?
Like for everyone to ask themselves, how can I become a better person? And how can I understand different views of point than I have?
That's a great ask. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys can find him on LinkedIn. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him everywhere. He posts a video every single day. He's done over 1,000 of these videos, and always some great wisdom and motivation, inspiration to get you started for the day. So, Shred, thanks for being here, my friend. This has been the Business Growth Blueprint. Thank you to everybody, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Thanks, my friend.